Well, hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's me, Odio, and I'm here today to do a real spooky review for you. It's A Nightmare on Elm Street. I just watched this and I did not remember ever seeing it. Let's get into it. Alright, so Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. I gotta say, I was aware of this movie. I've been around. I was around before this came out, but I don't remember seeing it. But I kind of know the story of like what it was. But I thought, well, for Halloween this year, let's give this one a watch and do a quick review of it. And so I did. And let me tell you, holy shit! I may never sleep again. So this is a movie following four kids, basically. Rod, Tina, Nancy, and Glenn. Glenn is actually played by Johnny Depp in the most doesn't look like Johnny Depp role I've ever seen anyone in. He's 21 or something at the time, but literally, if I didn't see his name on it, I would never have thought that was Johnny Depp. But yeah, we're going to start this off, and I just want to preface this review by saying I don't watch horror movies. I watch a lot of cartoons, superhero stuff, whatever. I don't watch the horror genre at all. But I figured it's Halloween, I'll give it a go. My God, I was so ill-prepared. I thought this is older, I should be able to handle it. No, wow, Wes Craven. So anyway, let's just get into it here. So Nightmare on Elm Street starts off showing, looks like found footage clips of this guy putting a glove together with claws. Now I knew that was Freddy. And then it cuts to this girl running away, scared, and this guy chasing her. And I was like, okay, it's him with the claws, cool. But then as he's chasing her, I gotta say, it actually was pretty creepy. And then you find out they're in a dream as he's chasing her, getting closer, cutting through stuff. And I was like, oh my goodness, all right, getting right into this here, scary right out the gate. So he tries to chase her and gets her and cuts her clothes, but doesn't get her. But then she wakes up and it's weird. The cuts are actually there from when he cut her. And I was instantly like, oh yeah, I kind of knew this was the theme, but okay, it's in your dream, so you can't go to sleep. I love sleep. Hopefully this doesn't affect that. So yeah, Robert Englund plays the titular character, Freddy Krueger as it is. He calls himself Freddy right at the beginning, so it's, they find a hat with his name and stuff on it later. But as we get going, you're following Tina. She's the girl that had the nightmare that had her clothes cut. So after the horrendous nightmare, Tina heads to school the next day, runs into her friends Nancy and Glenn, and she kind of lets them know she's having a rough time about it. They also run into her boyfriend, Rod, or not really her boyfriend, some guy who was her boyfriend or is not. I don't really know what's going on, but I'm pretty sure they're together. So she's talking about how scared she is, and then Rod goes away, and she tells the other two that she's afraid, doesn't want to sleep alone, and her parents are going to be out of town. So they're like, oh, it's okay, we'll come sleep over with you. So she comes over, and they're telling her about the nightmare, about, oh, it's a guy with claws, and how he's got this sweater on, and it's gray and red. And then Nancy's like, wait a minute, but I had that nightmare. Sounds like Glenn also had that nightmare. So they're all kind of weirded out talking about this at the house. I'm also weirded out. I'm like, what the hell? Are they all having the same dream? What is this movie? What is going on here? So then the guy, Rod, shows up, her ex-boyfriend, kind of, because they're outside looking around. They hear something. And you actually get kind of scared. To be honest, I'm not going to lie. I was kind of scared a lot. The music is really, really good at setting the tone, the atmosphere, and the feeling of it. It's dark a lot of the time, but the music slows down and then speeds up and gets louder. And oh my God, it's just really, really well done. So anyway, Rod shows up to the slumber party, and then Tina and Rod go up in the room to hook up. Nancy and Glenn wants to hook up, but Nancy's like, no, we're here for Tina, not us. And it's hilarious because it's a horror movie from the 80s, so of course it cuts to they're just banging up there. You hear them getting on, as Glenn is listening to them upstairs. He's like, geez. So when they're done having sex, her ex-boyfriend, or boyfriend now, I guess, Rod's like, so no more complaining, right? She's like, yeah. Then we find out Rod also is having the nightmare with Freddy. And it's like, wow, this is crazy. It's affecting everyone. So all the kids kind of pass out and go to bed that night. And of course, something's going to happen because they're going to sleep. And also, it's a horror movie, and those people had sex, so we know what's going to happen. I mean, I've seen Scream, so I know the rules to the horror movie. But yeah, the rules hold true. So in one of the craziest moments, I don't know if I don't think I've ever seen this movie, so let me just say Tina's death was a holy shit moment for me. She's in the nightmare being chased by Freddy or whatever, but then in the real world, she's actually in bed with Rod, and like he wakes up and she's like screaming and moving, and they're under the covers, and you can see the silhouette of Freddy like fighting her, but Rod jumps out of bed, pulls off the cover. There is no Freddy there. You just see Tina, and Freddy's in the dream like he's frightening her, like he's crazy. He takes the claws to his own chest at one point. Maggots and stuff pour out. He's like, "Oh, come here, Tina." And he's like putting the claws on his face. I did not like it. And then when the body is just, she's screaming. The actress is just letting loose. She's like, "Ah!" And then it just shows her get cut in the middle. And she gets like cut open, and it pulls the body across the bed, goes flying against the wall. Blood is shooting out everywhere. She gets pulled across the ceiling onto she's getting hacked up. The boyfriend's on the ground like, freaking out. The door's locked. They're trying to come in and get them. I was like, what the hell is happening? And then he like boots it out the door, and then they come in the hallway. They finally get in there. He's gone. Tina is just massacred. There's just, what the hell, movie? Like, what are you doing? Like, holy crap. It was traumatizing. It was like, I thought I could take it because it's from the 80s, but it scared the hell out of me, man. So then the cops and stuff show up later, and they're looking for the boyfriend because, obviously he did it. No one else is in the room, but we saw what happened. We were in the room. Holy cow. So then Nancy clearly realizes there's going to be a problem with this dream guy who's coming to kill them all. You see Freddy a whole bunch more, scaring her a couple times. They start talking about meeting with a dream expert so they can actually control what happens in the dream. Like if they actually believe it's a dream, then they have actual control. They can make themselves land on something different, or they can take away like Freddy's power by turning away. But none of that's happening right out the gate. We're getting some super creepy moments with Nancy. She's trying not to fall asleep because she's very aware that Freddy's going to come get them all. And she's going to school because she just goes to school after her friend's been murdered. She's having nightmares they're going to kill her. Whatever. Head to school. Education's real important. Stay in school, kids. So when she gets to school, she realizes, like, on the way, that Rod, he didn't kill her. So he grabs her and says, like, "Oh my God, you're not going to believe what happened to Tina. I didn't do it." And he starts saying what happened, and she knows it had to be Freddy. But then the cops come and get him, and because they were following oh my God, I forgot to mention this. I can't believe I forgot to mention Tina's father, who's like the lieutenant of police. He uses her as bait so he can catch her friend Rod, so they can bring him into because they think he killed Tina. So they capture him, and she heads on to school. He's like, "What are you doing going to school anyway?" I just got to point out, I know it's the 80s, but the parents in this are the absolute, like, the worst parents you've ever seen in your life. Just a whole shit ton of no help for anyone. And the cops are even dumber. These are the worst cops I've ever seen in anything. Like, if you get stuck in a horror movie, you're screwed. Your parents and the cops, they're not coming to help you. No one's coming to help you. You got to take care of it yourself, or go hang out with Nancy. She seems like she's going to try to do something. Anyway, so Rod gets arrested. They take him off to jail. Nancy's having nightmares all over the place. She's in the bath at one point, falls asleep. The Freddy claws come up. I was like, oh my God. I didn't know if she was going to die in there. Like earlier on in the movie when we were watching, I honestly thought that Tina was actually like the main character. I thought we were going to go the whole way with her, but we don't. We get some horrendous nightmares. It's awful. Like Nancy falls asleep and she dreams about dead Tina. Oh my God. My soul, I can't take it. Like, you get to see, like, she's in a bag at one point just getting hauled around. There's blood being dragged and she's following her. Her corpse just shows up in a bag and starts talking to her. It's a clear plastic bag. Worms and a snake and stuff come out of her mouth. Dead Tina was the worst villain in this whole movie. Dead Tina is one of those things that when you see it, you're like, oh my God, no more of that, please. And then every time they keep bringing Dead Tina back. She starts talking at one point. Oh my God. Like, oh, I thought I was going to turn it off. Dead Tina is worse than Freddy to me. Like, oh, it was just awful. And she has a nightmare about him. But then, literally, in the prison, she realizes that now Freddy's trying to kill everyone. So she runs to the prison, tells her dad that Freddy's coming in their dreams to try to kill people. So she just wants him to go look at Rod. And then Rod is, of course, he's screwed. Like, as the cops get down there, a blanket grabs him by the neck, lifts him up against the top of the cage, like, snaps his neck and kills him. And they're like, oh, it looks like he killed himself. It's like, what? What? How did he get the blanket to snap his neck and pull? What are you talking about? They have a funeral. They're still blaming him for Tina's death. Like, it's a brutal funeral. Like, no matter what they did in life, it's like, oh, poor Rod. Rod really got the shaft in this one. And then Nancy's telling Glenn, like, we're the only two left. Like, he's coming for us too, but I don't know why. And she just can't figure out why Freddy's trying to kill them. Like, why just them? Why does he come in their dreams? What the hell did they do to deserve this horrible fate? At one point, Nancy's mom and dad actually take her to a dream therapist. She's like asleep in a chair in front of them. Freddy tries to kill her again. They got him being recorded on this little chart. He's like, I've never seen numbers like these. No, because she's being attacked by an entity in her dream. So anyway, she literally grabs Freddy's hat, gets her arm cut, comes out of the dream, still has the hat, and the hat says Fred Krueger on it. She's like, yeah, this guy's attacked me, Fred Krueger. And they're like, I don't know how she did it. How could she have pulled off this trick? It's like, bro, what? She was asleep in front of you. She came back with a hat. I mean, I know it's hard to believe, but obviously something's going on. But anyway, she just can't figure out why they're trying to kill him. And then the mother, who's like, her mother is portrayed at first like really pretty with makeup and everything. She slowly degenerates into like a drunken loser who's like losing her mind by the end of it. It's pretty funny. And anyway, eventually, after a lot of drinking, her mom gives her the classic 80s backstory side thing that is just horrifying to hear, like in Gremlins when they talk about, why she doesn't like Christmas. Well, she just says that Freddy Krueger was an evil man that used to kill children, so someone didn't sign a search warrant or something when they finally caught him, so he got out. So all the parents gathered together, found him at the old boiler, and I guess just burned him to death. Okay. And one of them is even like the chief of police, so that's what they did. So she's like, and that's why it couldn't be him. And the mom even has the claw hand, so they definitely did that. Which one of them is like the lieutenant of the police. So, but anyway, I guess these kids, their parents are the ones that did that. But you don't get much from any of the other parents. You don't get much from the dad, who's the cop. But you do get this mom just losing her mind throughout the whole movie. So then anyway, Glenn, who's, like I said, Johnny Depp, she's going to try to fight Freddy Krueger. This is her big plan. Her insane plan is to fall asleep and fight Freddy and have Glenn kind of watch over her and wake her up or whatever when she's in trouble, which, what? How is that going to help? Like, he can cut you. Anyways, that's her plan, but as she does it, of course, it doesn't work. Glenn falls asleep. I remember seeing so many memes and jokes and shows making fun of that. Now I get why they're doing that, because he's supposed to be awake, but then you see him in the dream hiding behind a tree at one point, and Freddy also is like, I'm your boyfriend now. God. Robert Englund does a great job, by the way. He's creepy. Every scene you see him in, you don't want to see him. You see the claws coming out, cutting through I was like, oh, just no, I don't want to see any more of this. So anyway, her alarm goes off. They wake up. It doesn't work out. And when they wake up, they kind of go back to their respective houses. But holy cow, what happens to Glenn? They basically plan to go back in and she's going to get Freddy and drag him into our world. She tells her dad about this plan. Her mom has put bars on the house and everything at this point. Like, this place is going wild. And they're across the road. The cops come later on. But anyway, she's like telling her dad, like, I need you to break in, because she's going to get Glenn to come and wake her up. But let me tell you what happens to Glenn. He ain't coming to wake her up, because out of nowhere, he falls asleep on the bed, realizes he falls asleep, and Freddy just like pulls him down through the bed, and I don't know if he blends them or what he does. A mountain of blood just spurts up, goes through the whole room. His mother opens the door, blood's just flying. That's the end of Johnny Depp. What the heck? It was nuts. I did not. It was like it just shut him laying down. It's like, oh, our death. Okay, fine. So now it's just one kid left. The couple that had sex, they were the first two to go. Now he's gone. Now clearly Nancy's the lone survivor. So she tells her dad, hey, in 20 minutes. Break my door down and whatever's happening, wake me up, and then I'll bring back the actual killer. She calls him on the phone. He doesn't really believe him. So they're across the road at Glenn's house. And earlier on, her and Glenn were talking about how they could control dreams and things. She bought a little book on like self-defense and things like that. That comes into play here. But yeah, Nancy goes in and yeah, she actually gets Freddy. She's fearless. She's she's awesome in this movie. She's like, I don't care what happens. I'm not dealing with Freddy. Her hair starts to go gray. She ages and everything. But when it's a rough overall ordeal for her. But when she goes in and she gets Freddy Krueger, she grabs him and literally brings him out. And it works. At first I didn't think it was going to work, but then he's in our world. And I'm like, oh, isn't he dead? What what the heck is Freddy Krueger? It's just insane when you're watching it. It's mind-boggling. It's so supernatural. Like, what are his abilities? Can he come in and out? Can he just come into our world, or could he not have done that? Did she have to do that? So many questions. But anyway, when he comes in, they have like a fight in her room, and like she literally has traps set up. There's all these traps set up through the house, like Home Alone. She's got like they're going off and hitting Freddy. It's like 10 years before Home Alone, but yeah, here we go. And he gets hit by one of them. There's another one like sets him on fire. An explosion goes off in the house. Remember, the cops are across the road. No cops come over. No one does anything. She grabs like a pool stick. She smashes at a window. Tell my dad to get over here and help me. One of the cops is finally like, yeah, you know what? I think I should tell the lieutenant. You should go check on his daughter. What? So anyway, she sets Freddy on fire in the basement with one of her Home Alone traps, and then the cops finally come in. They go down to get him, but he's not there. They see the burning footsteps going. Freddy like horribly murders her mother. There's like nothing left but a skeleton, which is like burned into my brain as it gets sucked into a bed down to wherever Freddy's taking her. Hell, I guess. I don't know. And then it seems like the whole ordeal is over. Like, is he gone, or what the heck? Is it done? Like, Freddy was on fire. Did he take her down to hell? Is that the end of it type thing? Like, my God, I hope so. My heart can't take much more. So after all the insane Krueger fights and stuff, he eventually he has a final showdown with Nancy, and she uses the trick like, you don't have any power, I want my mom and everybody back, you're not real, and like turns her back on him. And Freddy like seems to kind of like, I don't know, dissipate or something when he tries to get her. So I was like, okay, did that do it? Did it work? I don't know. Then it just cuts to like outside the house with like one of the most crazy, ambiguous, I don't know what the heck endings ever. Those kids are back, all of them, like dead Tina's there, and and her ex-boyfriend, the dead one, Glenn, and Rod is all there. And I was like, okay, are they all back? She goes to get in the car with them. Her mom is like waving at her. I was like, what? And her mom seems to be back and live. Then when they go and they get in the car, the hood pops up, and it's like a Freddy Krueger style hood. And then he just like grabs her mom and pulls her in the house. You see the claws, like, whoa. And then it just ends. I'm like, what? Oh my God. Like, yeah. I mean, I get why it's a classic. Holy cow. Even like 40 years later, it still scared the heck out of me. It like Dead Tina's gonna bother me for a long time. Like just when she started speaking and everything, and there's like one part snakes are like coming out of her mouth and stuff. Oh my God. Like it was a lot, but awesome movie. Hey, it was a lot of fun to watch. I'm going to give Nightmare on Elm Street a 9 out of 10 on the odometer. It's frightening. It's excellent and spooky. I'm only taking a point off because I can't sleep now. And I blame this movie for that. But overall, it was a great time. You're looking for a good Halloween movie to watch? Watch this one. Have you not seen it? Have you seen it? Let me know down in the comments. Did you love it? I'm sure pretty much anyone who's ever watched it definitely is a movie you remember. You know what I mean? Not one that I'm going to forget for a long time. But thanks so much for your time, everybody. Please like, share, and subscribe. And also, never forget, stay out of trouble, especially on Halloween, and don't go to sleep.